Hello everybody, and welcome back to Unoriginal Games. My name is Andrew, and today I'm going to be bringing you a top 5 games on Steam that I think you should check out at the moment. And these are in no particular order, just 5 games that I thought would really pique your interest, and they certainly piqued mine. But let's get things going. The first one that I chose is called Always Sometimes Monsters. The release date was May 21st, 2014. And for the overview of this game, it says, out of money and out of luck, you find yourself heartbroken and on the verge of collapse. Your landlord's taking the key back, you can't finish your manuscript, and your beloved is marrying someone else. With no choice but to handle whatever life throws at you, you set out on an open road on a mission to win back the love of your life. The story from there is up to you. Can your life be salvaged, or are we always sometimes monsters? And in this game, there's 3 core selections you have. Choice. And this is something that I found really interesting about this game. I know it's really basic sounding, but having that choice to decide whatever you want to do, it's basically choosing the path you want to create in this game. And it says, a story-driven experience focusing on relationships and emotional bonds rather than traditional RPG combat and adventuring. Indecision is your enemy and empathy is your weapon in a quest to earn one last chance to win back the love of your life. And you can, I don't know, maybe be some crazed maniac out there destroying everybody's life to find your love back and make your life better once again. And the second core content in this is circumstance. Choose from characters of different gender, race, and sexual preference and live through the common experiences and unique hardships of each based on your selection. NPCs may treat you differently based on your gender, race, or sexual preference, opening and closing different paths along the way. So you can choose your own race, gender, and sexual preferences, and due to those certain circumstances, you can have different outcomes of the game and such. And the third and last thing of the core content of this game is each playthrough is filled with a staggering number of diverging paths that can be discovered through both overt actions and subtle choices in conversation. The journey you experience will be tailored to your personal ethical compass as your decisions, both conscious and subconscious, change your fate, and that's consequence. And the 3 choices again are choice, circumstance, and consequence. And I think that's what makes this game a real one to look out for. Number 2 in the top 5 is Among the Sleep. The release date was May 29th, 2014. And Among the Sleep is a first-person horror adventure in which you play a 2-year-old child. After waking up in the middle of the night to mysterious sounds, you start exploring the dark looking for comfort. The game explores horror through atmosphere and exploration, not with scores and combat systems. In Among the Sleep, you're vulnerable, scared, and trying to make sense of the world. What I found really interesting about this game was it wasn't the usual horror type scenario. It was basically kind of downgrading it to like a smaller version of like kind of a crazy child horror type game where you walk around and sometimes you think that something spooky's going on, but it just turns out to be like a refrigerator or a chair or a table that looks like it could be a monster or something like that. But I think it's like a real spooky kind of, I don't know, a real good horror game that I feel that hasn't been done in this particular way. Number 3 on the list is Darkwood. And Darkwood is a game about survival, exploration, and fear, set in mysterious woods somewhere in the territory of the Soviet bloc. It is a top-down, free-roam, surreal horror experience with a randomized world, taking cues from classic games where oftentimes you had to figure things out for yourself. By blending RPG, roguelite, and adventure elements together with a challenging difficulty, Darkwood aims to please players craving for deep and rewarding experiences. And some of the features that Darkwood has: by day, explore the randomly generated woods, scavenge for materials and weapons, discover secrets, solve mysteries, and talk, trade with or kill the various inhabitants of Darkwood. By night, find shelter, barricade, set up traps, and hide or defend yourself from the horrors that lurk in the dark. Gain skills or perks by extracting essence from mutated fauna and flora and injecting it into your bloodstream. This might also have various unexpected consequences. Each action you take will have an impact on Darkwood and its inhabitants. The choices you make will define the story which you will experience. And the reason why I chose Darkwood was because it just seemed different, you know. It kind of reminded me of like World War II type area, like kind of like they went into a zombie mode in a sense, like all the soldiers turned into some type of zombies and you're trying to have to fight them off. That's what it kind of reminded me of. And it also reminded me somewhat of Project Zomboid. That's also on Steam. It kind of has that type of feel to me for some reason, like you're the only one out there trying to find your way. And there's no set date for this. I've seen June, and right now on Steam they say July 2014, but they could push it back. I'm not for certain. Number 4 on the list is Metro 2033 Redux. And the release date is stated as summer 2014, and I know this is another revamp of Metro 2033, and forgive me, I have not played that game before, but I saw this part of the version of this game and it looked pretty cool to me. And it states, in 2013 the world was devastated by an apocalyptic event, annihilating almost all of mankind and turning the Earth's surface into a poisonous wasteland. A handful of survivors took refuge in the depths of Moscow underground, and human civilization entered a new dark age. The year is 2033. An entire generation has been born and raised underground, and their besieged metro station cities struggle for survival with each other and the mutant horrors that await outside. You are Arctom, born in the last days before the fire, but raised underground, having never ventured beyond the city's limits. One fateful event sparks a desperate mission to the heart of the metro system to warn the remnants of mankind of a terrible impending threat. Your journey takes you from the forgotten catacombs beneath the subway to the desolate wastelands above, where your actions will determine the fate of mankind. But what is if the real threat comes from within? And this just looks kind of similar to The Walking Dead, it looks like, except in a more futuristic, where you're battling off mutants, zombies, maybe even aliens. I'm not real sure. They didn't really show any of the enemies that well in the trailers, but it looked pretty cool. It kind of looked like maybe a free roam game where you could go out and try and survive as long as you can and destroy the evil and hopefully regain control of your city that has once fallen. And last but not least, at number 5 I have Hellraid, and the release date, it states on the trailer as autumn 2014 for early access. and on actual Steam it just says coming in 2014, not real sure on the actual release date. And in Hellraid, it is a dark fantasy action game from Techland, the company behind Dying Light, The Dead Island, and the Call of Juarez series. Hellraid is a unique mix of melee, magic, and ranged combat, and can be played both in single player and 2 to 4 player co-op. So if you want to go on your own, or if you want to stick it out with your friends and try and fight off big barrages of enemy, and you can join in a group of fierce combatants trying to stop the demonic invasion and close the gates of hell. In the thrilling story mode, master the levels, collect points, and climb up the leaderboards in the highly replayable and challenging mission mode, which is one of 3 game modes you have. Or you can fight for your survival against the hordes of enemies in the nightmarishly hard arena mode, which is kind of, Goliath versus whatever that guy's name is, I forgot. But you know what I mean. Or you could do the story mode, and you can create your own character and customize it with a variety of accessories, clothes, and armors. Develop a master demon slayer tailored to your play style. Combine active and passive abilities from a vast class-free skill tree divided into intertwined branches of combat, magic, and agility. Slash enemies with one-hand swords, crush their bones with 2-handed hammers, or cut in half with powerful axes. Diverse fighting styles for different weapons, shields, counterattacks, parrying, and dashing abilities make the melee combat of Hellraid both complex and immersive. And the reason why I chose Hellraid is because it kind of reminded me of Skyrim, and Skyrim, in my opinion, was a pretty awesome game, and it just had that type of feel where you can just tear stuff up in the olden medieval times, and that's always fun, and getting to destroy stuff and enemies and stuff like that. It's just, you can't pass that up. But I hope you enjoyed this top 5, and maybe I'll come up with another list later on with other games that I think you should check out, or ones that I've been playing as of recently and the ones that I like the most. But until next time, keep being y'all. See ya.
Now am I wrong for trying to reach the things that